This is my breakdown of how to prepare for paper 1 on the 21st of May 2019. In this video I'm going to detail what is involved in paper 1 for the AQA GCSE Geography 9:1 course. You will be sitting the exam on the 21st of May 2019 in the afternoon session. It will be an hour and a half and it's worth 88 marks. The structure of the exam consists of 3 sections, sections A, B and C. So you will need to answer all the questions in sections A and B, but then you have a choice when it comes to section C. This depends on which topics you've studied with your teacher, so you need to choose 2 out of the 3 topics. That's either coasts, rivers or glaciers. First thing I always suggest to all my students is to read the instructions on the cover sheet carefully before skimming through the entire paper. You will start with section A, the challenge of natural hazards. The section will contain a variety of different questions from multiple choice all the way up to a 9 marker with SPAG marks available. So these are the topics you need to be revising for section A. You need to understand the distribution of volcanoes around the world, as well as plate margins. That's including destructive, constructive and conservative plate margins. You also need to think about earthquake examples and fully understand the difference between primary and secondary effects, as well as immediate and long-term responses. You need to consider why people live near hazards such as volcanoes and earthquakes, and also think about the risk management. One example of risk management is thinking about the 3 Ps, which is prediction, protection and planning. You need to think about global atmospheric circulation and understand the difference between the Hadley cell, the Ferrel cell and the polar cell. With tropical storms, similar to earthquakes, you need to understand the effects and responses. And the example that my group have looked at is Typhoon Haiyan. You need to understand some extreme UK weather events, such as the Cumbria floods in 2009 or the Somerset floods in 2014. Lastly, you need to consider about climate change. You need to understand what the evidence is showing you when it's presented. You need to understand the natural and human causes, as well as thinking about mitigation and adaptation. Now, when it comes to case studies, you need to think about the earthquake examples such as Italy in 2009, Nepal in 2015, or other people may have looked at Chile in 2010. Again, the tropical storm case study you should have looked at is Typhoon Haiyan, but there are a variety of different case studies available. When we look at section B, that is looking at the living world. So in this section you can encounter multiple choice questions up to a 9 marker, but this time without SPAG marks available. The topics for revision are ecosystems, tropical rainforests, cold environments or hot deserts. Again, your teacher will choose either to study cold environments or hot deserts, not both. Now, when you look at ecosystems, you want to understand the distribution and characteristics of ecosystems around the world, as well as the different parts of an ecosystem. You're going to try and understand food chains and webs, and then when you look at tropical rainforest, you need to understand the general climate, you need to understand the problems and causes of deforestation, and then there's also the management and protection of tropical rainforests. My group looked at cold environments and we looked at the different polar and tundra regions. So we looked at examples such as Alaska and Antarctica. So if you've studied hot deserts, then you need to refer to your own notes or discuss any queries with your teacher. So each part of section C is slightly shorter than sections A and B. You'll be looking at coast, rivers or glaciers, and again you choose 2 out of the 3 sections. My group this year have studied coast and rivers, so they will only complete those sections. In last year's exam, each section contained 7 questions. Most of the questions were 1 markers, with a 4 and 6 mark question to finish. So when looking at coast, you need to show understanding of the following features and how they are formed, as well as being able to apply your knowledge of coast to Ordnance Survey map extracts. So you should have good understanding of waves, weathering and mass movements such as landslides, the different erosional processes, transportation such as longshore drift and deposition. You should have a general knowledge of the geology or the rock structure of the coastline, the difference between headlands and bays, cliffs and wave-cut platforms, basic formations such as arches, caves and stacks, the difference between beaches such as sandy and pebbly beaches, sand dunes, spits and bars, and you should have a good understanding of coastal management strategies, and again understand the difference between soft and hard engineering. The last thing is coastal realignment and what that process involves. Possible case studies: most people look at Swanage and the Dorset coastline. So when it comes to rivers, you need to show basic understanding of the following features of rivers, how they're formed, as well as being able to apply to an ordnance survey map similar to coastlines. Okay, so you should have basic understanding of erosion, transportation and deposition. You should understand the difference between the long profile and the cross profiles of a river. So you should have basic understanding of all the different features of a river, such as interlocking spurs, waterfalls and gorges, meanders and oxbow lakes, and then levees and floodplains. You should have looked at the different causes of flooding, such as physical or human factors. You should have looked at hydrographs, and then again you should have finished off with river management strategies, again considering hard and soft engineering strategies. Possible examples could include looking at the River Tees or the River Severn. When looking at managing floods, examples are in Banbury and the Jubilee River Flood Relief Channel. Now, my group this year have looked at coasts and rivers. If you've studied glaciers, you need to refer to your own notes when revising. So that summarises the GCSE Geography Paper 1 from AQA that you'll be taking on the 21st of May 2019. Once again, you need to make sure you revise the correct topics that your teacher has gone through with you, and then complete the appropriate sections. Just for guidance, I usually advise my pupils to try to spend around 30 minutes on each section. Make sure you go through the paper multiple times once you've finished, and ensure you complete all the questions from your chosen sections. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe for more GCSE Geography videos coming this year, and good luck with your exams.